Welcome back, dads. We know you've been rationing your sleep to binge the final chapter of one of TV's biggest shows. That's right, the wait is over, and we're ready to open the gate for a deep dive, spoiler-filled discussion of Stranger Things Season 5. But beyond the epic battle with Vecna and the fate of Hawkins, we're unpacking what really hit us, the surprising complexities of parenthood in a world constantly under threat. From Joyce Byers and Jim Hopper to even Stephen Harrington's motherhead moments, we're analyzing the evolving and enduring family dynamics that ground the show. Grab your Eggos and let's get into the upside down on this episode of Three-Dimensional Dads.
I'm Jay.
I'm Derek.
And I'm Ian.
And it looks like the upside down right now outside of our houses. Because it is do we call this the blizzard of 2026? I don't know.
It has a name, doesn't it?
I don't know. If it has a name, like something with your insurance like doesn't kick in or something, there's a higher deductible.
Well, it's like that joke they're making too. It's like, should we breathe this in? Like all the dust and stuff like in the upside down. Except it's snow. It's just water crystallized.
Listen, science. Like this show I think was about us, and I think a lot of geek dads have said that.
Oh yeah, right. I know. I totally felt like one of those kids all grown up.
Yeah.
That's what it was like.
I felt like it was reliving. I mean, they're a little older than we were at that age, maybe just a little bit. But it was definitely
riding
like
your bike around the neighborhood with your friends,
yeah.
walkie talkies and all that kind of, and playing D&D and hanging out in people's basements.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Come back when the streetlights,
No,
but really was
over.
season 5 that though? Like that's the question, right?
No,
Right.
no,
no, not anymore.
No. Season 5 was the I don't know what to call it. It was like the end of or the like interim of Terminator 2 or something like that.
Yeah.
It was kind of like the military cordons off the whole town, and there's like I don't know. It was gnarly. It was gnarly.
Yeah, it almost felt like a different show. Yeah, they just kept raising the stakes over and over.
And the kids looked really old.
Right.
Because they're not kids. They're not kids.
Yeah. I know.
I don't know. I think this final season really, they landed the plane, but I think it was really bumpy. I think they had a lot of challenges, and I think most of them they did really well with. But everything else, like I do have some nits to pick about this. But I think let's just get right into it. Derek, give us your big, because you saw this, you were the last of us to see this, another show coming out in 2026 hopefully. You were the last of us to kind of take this in, so what were your thoughts?
Yeah, so actually I took a little bit of a vacation right from the series, and I just saw the last season. I believe I stopped around like just the beginning third of season 3, right? And what's interesting, and actually I just talked to Ian about this a little bit before we jumped on, was that I didn't feel like I felt like I could fill in the blanks of what had happened previously. I just personally, for me, I thought I enjoyed the ending. I really did like it. It was definitive.
Yeah.
I also liked that it kind of gave you the choose your own adventure. I did like you can believe whatever you wanted happened to Elle. I did really kind of appreciate that, where yes, you could believe that she did the sacrifice, or you could believe the scenario that Mike did in his head. And that gave all of them, I think, at the end, hope, right? They gave the whole clan kind of hope at the end. I thought also it was appropriate, just as this adolescent coming of age story, right? That it ended at high school graduation. And you got to see a little bit of like where they were going on in life. Again, though, stepping back from the series, when I took this up again, I don't know when the heck this turned into Aliens. Like literally.
Yeah.
I mean, and at the end it was like Mad Max. We're like on this desert in between, and they're all dressed up, and like now they're all carrying like weapons,
shotguns,
and like shotguns, and like a giant like spider monster they're fighting and stuff. And I did really kind of, and this is an overall impression of like the series for me, is like it got really violent. And to me, it was always like E.T. with an edge. And, you had that kind of cool retro vibing to it. But now it almost seemed like it was like Aliens and Mad Max with a little bit of retro thrown into it. And that was just a big, and maybe this progression had happened and I did not know about it, but it was just kind of shocking to me. There's now all of a sudden kids that are shooting army people, and I was just like, whoa. It's like, whoa, like snapping necks and just like, oh my God. Whoa.
Let's be honest here. The stakes were as high as they've ever been.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why like it kind of like was a peripheral kind of change to the tenor of the show, because like now it's like everything else was like the fish was nibbling on the hook, and now the hook's been set and you're reeling in.
Yeah. And the one, I guess one other little last nitpick I have is that, and this just always just seems like it comes from the father in me, right? But Mike's parents, right? They took everybody in, and then the Demogorgon attacks them to get Holly, and they make this huge deal about what happens to their mom. But what happened to the dad that ran in with the golf club? Nobody said anything. Like, did he go to the hospital? Is he okay? They all cared about the mom, but what happened to the dad?
The mom was nice. The dad was an a-hole. He's like sitting there in his Barca lounger, like looking at his paper, like damn kids and their D&D. I don't know.
Anyway, I just thought that was funny. Yeah. It was like it was like the Homer Simpson moment, right? There's the aloof dad, right? But we didn't care about visiting him in the hospital.
No, because he didn't stab a Demogorgon in the throat with a wine bottle of wine that she had previously drank. No wonder she was feeling like she had some liquid courage in her.
Yeah.
I like that the parents had more to do in this season. Where like, boy, Joyce Byers too. She was along with the ride with the kids. She had like brings an axe and chops off Vecna's head. Yeah, that was pretty metal. Wow. She would put. Yeah, there's like, if you're wondering if he's dead or not. No, that seems pretty definitive. And it wasn't one swing either. She like. That was a whole, it took a lot of chopping.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually they had like a flashback for every swing she took, right? Like there was like some reminiscent like trauma like from each. Yeah, that was pretty powerful. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, it was a great moment for Winona. But also, if we're talking about my favorite things this season, my other big one has to be Will the Wise. And the ending, like they did this thing where they split the season in half. Then we got like a mid-season like finale, and when he goes all like Gandalf, all superpower, and like snaps all the Demogorgons, that was amazing. I love this. Cool. I fell for the setup, hook, line, and sinker when Vecna's like, "Oh, you're so weak," and all this stuff, and then for him to be like the wind is blowing his hair, his eyes turn white, snapping things.
They had to give him something. I feel like, he was kind of, even though he was the focus of season one, he kind of faded into the background. Right.
And I've always felt for Will. Like that's been one of the things that I say. All the other kids get to have fun and go off on adventures, and Will's always the one who's like screaming, tortured. He has like
he always gets the anal probe.
Yeah, right. He's always getting this the smoke monsters in him, and it's just like I feel so bad for that actor of having to put up with all that stuff. Everyone else gets like one-liners with Steve and like go to the arcade.
It's like okay, Noah, today you're gonna throw up a slug.
Yeah, right?
Poor guy.
Yeah, right? I know. So to see him empowered and snapping Demogorgons and like, glowing eyes, so awesome. Loved it. If I'm talking about some things that kind of nitpick, I did think this season was a hard pivot from last season. Last season ended. Mm-hmm. Their big cliffhanger was like the ground opens up and suddenly all the Demogorgons can come out. And like, I thought that was going to be a huge thing that like, boy, the Upside Down's broken through into our world now. And then the beginning of the season, they're like, nope, covered it all in metal. I was like, what? Like, yeah, we just put metal over all the holes and we're good now. They can't get through.
The Hawkins Department of Works.
Did any of them get through? How did you? Exactly.
Just put some plates on it.
Right? They just plated over it, and they didn't even pave it. They just plated right over it.
Yeah. There's potholes everywhere.
I know. I thought that was kind of that was
It was that
big.
earthquake that they were trying.
Yeah, right. But then if I had to pick like another thing that surprised me is when, they finally we find out what it's really been the whole time.
Yeah.
They kind of retconned it that the upside down's a bridge between our world and this crazy world where all the monsters come from. And they go there and like, yes, I love the giant spider monster. Wonderful, awesome. But like not a Demogorgon in sight. None of those bats that were like killed Eddie. Like no monsters anywhere, just that giant monster.
Yeah.
That felt a little weird. I know, that was one of the things on the internet where people are like, where were the Demogorgons at the end? Because everyone just kind of walked there slowly and then like fought a giant monster, which was great. But I really thought it was going to be a bigger battle or they were going to, something would go wrong. And also, I would love just to see a wild Demogorgon in their natural habitat. We're going to the planet where the Demogorgons are from. They're like, it's a desert.
But it's narrated by Steven Attenborough, what's his name? David Attenborough. He's like, the wild Demogorgon comes out of his burrow and sees the children armed to the teeth with M16s.
Right. And it was actually kind of weird now, just because now looking at it, it's just like, oh, it's just dudes in suits running around. Like,
right.
Yeah.
They fit in the upside down. They were slimy creatures. Come on.
Yeah.
So, but if we're talking also about our take on, the season 5 ending of Stranger Things, my wife thought it was like Return of the King. She was kind of shut off at like hour 2. There was another 40 minutes. She's like, oh, well, that was great. I was like, oh, they're still going. There's like a post credits. There's like a them later on in life. They all come back together.
Yep.
It's like a Return of the King. We get a couple rounds of goodbyes before the final. They sit around the table and play D&D together, which I thought was very, that was great too. I like the choose your own ending part. Yeah. But it's such a Herculean task. How many characters they had. They just kept adding people. Then, like, I love all these people. Robin's great. I love the additions they've made. But, like, they had to give all these little moments for so many, and that's hard. So I give him props. I mean, I think I came away from it feeling good, feeling like, okay, I feel like we got to know where they went in life. And, yeah. I am glad they didn't do a teaser at the end where, like, suddenly Will's neck, like, tingles, and you're like, is he dead? They didn't do that. They went like, nope, it's over. Don't even think that. I appreciate the definitive bam.
You're right. Like they did stick the landing. They wobbled, but they stuck the landing. And everything you guys said, I agree with. That was good. I thought it was great. I thought it was kind of really the only way they can do it. But with my favorite thing is the valedictorian speech. It just Dustin's ode to Eddie was just like so awesome. And as a teacher who sat through oodles and oodles of graduation speeches and did one at one point because I was a class advisor, probably the best graduation speech I've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
And I will say that I'm being serious, not because of like the flipping the bird to the principal and everything like that, but like the way that he wove his relationship with Eddie and Dungeons and Dragons and all together, and he like really, really made it personal. I mean, the writers did, but to give Dustin kind of that send off, I thought was really great. And everyone got a happy ending, really. The older kids, Steve and they faded though. That was my big nitpick. Like they just kind of were like sitting on the roof and were like, yeah, I guess we're going to meet for like every month for the rest of our lives. Like, no, you're not. One's in Boston, one's in Ohio or Indiana. What are you're going to meet in Philly, Pittsburgh? Like gas prices in the late 80s? Like, no way. It's not going to happen. And driving with no nav, you're all going to get lost. No, I felt that they kind of like, shut the door on them. I did like how Steve and Dustin kind of reconnected. That was great. And one thing I really liked, and I wish they would have done more with this, I feel like Hawkins, the whole town has like a secret. Like the whole town. It's kind of like Michael Myers in Haddonfield. Like everyone knows about the boogeyman, but no one talks about it. I think that's what Hawkins was. I would have loved to see everyone in Hawkins with like shovels and crowbars fighting Demogorgons and stuff like that. Like the end of Endgame.
Yeah, that's the thing that struck me a little odd too, that like they're back in school and there are so many other people there, but like they know what's going on, but no one else does.
Yeah.
That feels like, or Robin's girlfriend's like doubting her, like, what are you talking about? That's crazy. I'm like, you're in a town that's locked down. There, it's like, there's something going on. Yeah. How many people are in on this?
The army
and they don't let you leave or go anywhere ever. Yeah, sure.
I don't know. I did think it was great. I did think it was great. But I had, just like with every show, we have issues. Like nothing's perfect. And
Right, of course.
again, it was a heavy lift. It was a very heavy lift. But one of the things that are really important about that heavy lift is that they didn't have to force like, a size 8 foot in a size 6 shoe. That Dungeons and Dragons piece of it, like the game piece of it, like the whole series was a Dungeons and Dragons campaign. I mean,
Right.
it really was. Right. And that kind of really talked a lot about the kids. Right? I mean, Derek, you think Dungeons and Dragons, like kids play it today, but like seeing it in retro was like,
Mm,
it brought me back to my childhood.
yeah, yeah. I had actually with this last season, kind of like I was saying before, I really did feel, other than the direct references, right, to
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons, I thought a lot of the retro vibe stuff was a bit overshadowed.
This
In
season.
all
Yeah.
honestly,
Hmm.
this season in particular, right? I mean, I guess you could talk about the whole, the whole arc of the show and how important it was to it, but until really they came to like the table playing the last game, or they were talking about hit points specifically, I think when they were in the Upside Down, and they were like talking about like how to get to Vecna and things like that. The one thing that I did really appreciate though was all of the radio references. And I really loved how they even, well, they used a couple like they really leaned into science, like the whole physics teacher thing, right? But
Yeah.
also like they used radio to communicate like back and forth and do the secret codes. Even the songs, right? Like upside down, how they planted the bomb with the Prince record and everything, and even the conversations between Robin and Will, right, and about
Yeah.
like coming out and things, right, and just the songs that played an influence to them. I thought that was really neat, and it actually, I've at least heard on social media and things that this has opened up. Oh, and also between Holly and you know the girl who's trapped in the Upside Down, how they used music, right? He played her song all the
Oh
time
yeah.
while she was in the
Kate
coma,
Bush.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
really thought that was all touching, and I've heard that because of Stranger Things, a lot of kids now have discovered, these hits from the 80s and things. And, there's this whole kind of like retro is new type of influence now. And I thought that was really neat. I thought that was really cool.
I mean, the music
But
was better.
yeah, yeah. And like they were
Right. Oh,
even
yeah.
using things like RF to open up the gates to get into like the army base and stuff like that, just like this old technology stuff. And I thought that real problem solving that we're talking about, that was really cool. That was cool to see
Yeah.
things like that, because the guy was like, I have no idea, I didn't open up the gate. When they were confronting the guard about like, oh, how did you let them in here? But I thought that was pretty interesting.
Wicked smart.
I-
Wicked
Ian, what
smart.
about you?
Right. Smart kids. Wicked smart. He was a
Wicked smart
valedictorian
kids.
too. Dustin was. Yeah. Smart
Yeah,
kids.
yeah,
Wicked
yeah,
smart
yeah,
kids.
yeah, yeah.
So I love that, this Dungeons and Dragons aspect, that you see that go into these missions they go on. Like, and this time they really like came up with a plan and everyone was in on it. I thought that that's something about gaming with your friends, is that like
Mm.
it does all these things for their relationship. It's like they work as a team, and you see them saying like, "Oh, cast a fireball," or they're talking, they're working together through their campaign, and then they go do impossible things where they're like, "We're
Yeah.
gonna go kill Vecna. We're finding him. We're gonna put a bomb here." Like it's just crazy, crazy stuff that
Yeah.
they plan together. I think that's awesome. I think that's something that gaming can bring out of the best out of people, and that they have your back. And I thought that I love those parallels between
Mm.
these guys that are gamers and then how it affects them in the real world. I love that. It felt like they're on a campaign. They pump each other up. Like Will's the wise. It's like he had that confidence, and they went like, "You are this wizard." I love that. I think that's great that your friends can
Sorcerer.
help you.
Sorcerer.
Right.
His
Sorry,
powers are
source.
innate.
Yep.
Right.
Powers are
Yep.
innate.
Yep. Yep. Oh,
But
literally,
yeah.
they had the plan written out on the overhead thing that they had the army people like.
Yeah. No, I thought that was super cool. And like Holly the Heroic, like they did that a whole
Yeah.
bunch too.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
that
Holly's
like,
real. Yeah,
this D&D, this geeky thing, they could
yeah,
grow up together and really grow as characters, and that's
yeah.
awesome. Love it.
We have been geeking out over the geeking out. It's very meta geeking out. I can't really say too much more than what you guys did. I will definitely say that it was a great framework. Like it did kind of fade because the stakes were so high in this, but they did
Right.
carry it through. I mean, my favorite season was personally the Starcourt Mall, and I thought that was great. There wasn't a ton of D&D kind of references in there either, but definitely you felt that it was great. One thing that really stuck out at me, though, is that people took turns being the dungeon master. Like Mike was the dungeon master. Sometimes Dustin was the dungeon master. I think even Hopper sometimes was the dungeon master. And when I say dungeon master, it's whoever was leading the team, right? At certain points of it, right? Sometimes it was Mike playing on his strengths. Sometimes it was Dustin. Sometimes it was Hopper. I think it was really great that kind of you saw that. But, we are a Geek Dad podcast and we've been geeking out. But what about the fatherhood thing? That's if you don't mind, I really kind of want to jump into that right now. I think Hopper's story with his daughter was devastating. It killed me. Listening to him and seeing the flashbacks and stuff like that. And that's why kind of like one of my big nitpicks, and I saved it for this. I wanted Elle to stay with them. I wanted Elle to be Elle Hopper, Jane Hopper. I really wanted to see them, fly to Montauk where he would be the police chief and she would kind of take the train into NYU. Like I wanted to see that. I wanted to see him get to be a dad again. And his speech to Mike on the bench was just like total dad vibes. Like he was pulling all the tools out of the toolbox to get him to go to graduation. And they shared pain. I mean, they both loved 11 different ways. Boom. That was connection right there. Connections right there. He found happiness again. I'm talking about to Jim Hopper. He found happiness marrying Joyce. I would have liked to see him be kind of more of a father figure to the Byers boys, kind of in that epilogue, kind of like that Return of the King piece, right? Like, the knuckleheads they're kind of old, but like, being knuckleheads around, like even throwing a football, I think would have been fun. I don't know. I would have liked to see Jim ask the Byers kids to marry Joyce. Like, what was that conversation like? He's like, guys, I'm gonna drop something on you now. I really want to marry your mom. Like, come on, where's that conversation? I thought it was great. I don't know. What about you, Ian? Your fatherhood stuff is always great. I love hearing your take on this.
Yeah, I thought this season, you got me thinking about Hopper. And this season, I felt like it was a step back a bit for his relationship with Elle. Season 3, well, I was so about that like Elle's dating Mike and they have to keep the door open and Hopper's all like telling Mike that he's gonna kill him and like telling him his grandma's dead and threatening him and like but there was this like respect that they gained, and I feel like he had to trust Elle, and that's really hard for him because he is like afraid of, he lost his daughter and he just wants to protect her all the time, but he had to start to trust her as she's developing and growing. Then we got this season. I was like, I thought that was a major step back. Suddenly he doesn't trust her anymore. She earned all this trust and all these things over these seasons. And then now he's training her to be Jean Grey from the X-Men. Snapping necks, jumping, force jumping, using her powers, levitating. Awesome. Love that. Very cool. But yeah, I thought that like setting up boundaries and communication, I thought this season was like a progression on that. He kind of got overprotective again. And
he didn't want to lose her. He already lost one daughter.
But he also seems like he's always trying to blow himself up or like, he was like, what are you doing? I don't want that. I want the happy ending. Don't go do that.
And I think, there's an aspect to that too, that door swings both ways with trust, right? Because Elle lost trust in him because she was like, what are you doing? What was the bomb for? What were you going to do?
Yeah.
Right. And at some point, right, she even, confronts him about it, right? And makes the point of, but I'm not your daughter. Right, like even and says it directly to him, right? And he has, like that hits him in the feels, right? And he has to let her, he has to trust her to make the right decision, right? For the good of the group, right? And that's a hard thing. That's a very hard thing to do, considering, right? I mean, she makes the point like, look, I am not your daughter that you lost all those years ago. This is different. This is me, right?
And also the kids are like 35. So when you're like doubting them still, I'm like, they have their own kids and families. I don't know why you're like, they all have full-time jobs. Like, it's hard to be like, you're just a kid. They look 30. That's a little tough.
Well, even if we take it in the context of the show, right? They've been through some stuff.
Yeah.
right?
They have been
I
through
mean,
some stuff.
Hop has really grown as a character. I mean, I think, you know, I might nitpick about how the season went, but I thought I always enjoyed him with Elle and how he's protective, but he's teaching her these ways. And, you know, he has all these skills no one else does. He's like a Marine and a cop, and like, he's resourceful, and like, he kills a lot of people. He does kill a lot of people. But, and then, you know, if we're talking parents, I thought Mrs. Wheeler needs a shout out, because she was amazing. She took on a Demogorgon all by herself, you know, when at that Demogorgon. I got some Ripley and like Alien Queen vibes there. And then when she blew up the oxygen tank and took a I mean, that's amazing. That is like such a cool, because her story in season 3 was like, oh, she's gonna cheat on her husband. I was like, okay, I like that they were doing more with the parents, but I was like, don't do that, Mrs. Wheeler.
Wouldn't
you?
Again.
I mean, Billy was, but he was also a giant, you know, jelly monster made out of human pie. Yikes.
Ooh, yeah.
But also, I mean, Miss Wheeler, well, amazing. But Joyce was one too, where Joyce was MVP, because over the series, seeing her growth, she has always believed in her kids. She's been kind of in on this adventure more than like, where are Lucas's and Dustin's parents? They're not taking out Demogorgons and swinging axes. You know, but Joyce always knew like her son was alive and was just so, you know, going to save him. She went to Russia to save Hopper. And then like she goes in this other dimension with them to go take on Vecna. Like, I think that's great that she's right alongside there with her sons, and that they trust in her. She trusts in them. So I think if we have to pick one parent that shines out of all of them, I got to say Joyce Byers.
Yeah.
You know, right from season 1 has been that reliable parent that's what they need. I wish all their parents were going along for the ride.
Well, she was she was really a hot mess at the beginning of season 1. Like, she couldn't handle it. And
she's stapling lights to the wall. She's putting letters on them. Iconic, but a little crazy.
You're right. She did kind of come out of it. I just, you know, I really like that happy ending of Joyce and Jim. Like, that was great. That wedding thing, or like the proposal in the restaurant where like Hopper's got some moves. You know, he's got some suave moves there, you know. But again, and too, like he's, you know, now their kids are adults by this point, right? They're both college age kids, right? So now like they can go off and kind of like do their own thing. I thought was great. I had no idea, just on a side note, how they were gonna like, you know, pull the thread on that Russia thing. When he went to Russia, I'm like what are they going to cross the ice bridge from Alaska? Like I didn't know how they were going to do it, but they were able to do it. It was great. I mean, overall thoughts of the series, guys. What do you like? Give me your favorite season. Give me your favorite character. What do you think?
So I always Starcourt Mall. I don't know if it's like the season 3 hit at a certain time in my life when I like had just had a little baby and we had a lot of time to watch it. And the mall is something I went to a ton as a kid. I loved arcades. I loved the mall. So that season just got me so nostalgic. And I love getting to see the Elle getting to be with Max and getting to go like be a girl and try on clothes and, you know, do that stuff. I thought that was such a great twist on stuff. And I feel like we missed out on some of that later seasons. But I've always loved this show. I'm going to miss this. I know they all got older. But like, I don't think there's a number 2 for me on Netflix. It's like number 1, Stranger Things, and then I am canceling my subscription.
I'm out. He's just kidding, Netflix. He's just kidding. Derek,
this
what about
episode
you?
brought to you by Netflix.
You know, the one thing I really did, and I really liked this season, was Will the Wise. I really thought like finally this character's got his due.
Fine.
But I mean, I you know, it's hard to pick a favorite season for me because I didn't see like all of season 3, right? But I mean, I think I'm going to go with the impression, you know, of the first season, right? It was just like, wow, this was so different. This was so new. It was a mashup of lots of different things. And I just liked how it really like leaned into that like E.T. vibe for me, like in that first season. So, yeah.
Right. And so many people have tried to copy that.
Yeah.
There have been so many like Amblin style things. Like it's hard to do to get 4 actors that really were great.
Right.
And boy, this casting was so good.
It was.
Nailed every casting decision was great in this. My favorite, Ian, I agree with you, season 3, the Starcourt Mall, and the battle in the Starcourt Mall against the Mind Flayer was just like unbelievable.
Visual,
like, so
and
cool.
Fireworks, and it's great.
I didn't know how they were going to top that, and then, you know, they did the whole Mad Max thing and like that. That's great. and I just, I kind of want to end it on this, like Jim Hopper. Like, I just every season, there was something about him. I mean, it was great. David Harbour's such a great actor, and he's only been in kind of like two things really that have been really big. It's like, he was in this, and he was, the Red Guardian, right? I want to see him and everything else. I think he's a great actor. I think it's great. But overall, yeah, definitely season 3, peak of the show. Season 5 did land the plane, and it was great. And hopefully, we will see those actors again in other things.
Yep.
Hey, dads, thanks for listening. We're all sad that Stranger Things is over, but we are glad that those 30-year-old kids finally got out of high school.
If you want to find out more about 3-Dimensional Dads, follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok at 3Dimensional Dads, or email us at 3dimensionaldads@gmail.com. We want to hear from you.
On the next episode of 3-Dimensional Dads, it's the latest on our series Dads on Screen, and we're jetting off to the planet Pandora to talk about Turok Aktu parenting blue cat kids in the Avatar trilogy. All this and more on the next episode of 3-Dimensional Dads.